Hi everyone, once again, welcome back. We are continuing in Module 2, Topic 1, Lesson 2. We are on Activity 1, Qualitative Comparisons. Habits of mind, reason abstractly and quantitatively, construct viable arguments, and critique the reasoning of others. In this activity, you'll compare ratios without measuring or counting quantities. When you reason like this, it is called qualitative reasoning. Choose the correct statement to complete each sentence and explain your reasoning. If you cannot determine the answer, explain why not. Number 1 says, if Luke plans to use 4 more tablespoons of orange mix today than what he used yesterday to make the same amount of orange drink, his orange drink today would have a stronger tasting orange flavor, a weaker tasting orange flavor, or a mix that has the same strength of orange taste as yesterday. So let's reread what it says. He plans to use 4 more tablespoons of orange mix today than what he used yesterday. And then a key here is to make the same amount of drink. So his amount, like let's say these are his cups. Yesterday he had this much water. And let's say he had 2 tablespoons yesterday. It says today he plans to use 4 more. So he would use 6 today. If it's the same amount, it would be the same amount of water. So this was yesterday. This is today. So this one would have a stronger tasting flavor. And we can say it's because the ratio of orange mix to water has increased. Right, so if yesterday he had 2 teaspoons for, I don't know, let's say it's 4 ounces of water, and then today he has 6 teaspoons for the same 4 ounces of water. Okay, number 2, Dave and Sandy each make a pitcher of orange drink. Sandy's pitcher is larger than Dave's. Sandy used more orange mix than Dave. Dave's orange drink has a stronger tasting orange flavor, a weaker tasting orange flavor, or a mix that's the same. So it says Sandy's pitcher is larger than Dave's. So I'm just going to make it like, oh, there we go. We put a little handle on it. It's a pitcher, Sandy's. Here's Dave's. Sandy used more orange mix, but do we know how much amount of liquid, amount of water they started with? It didn't tell us. Here it told us the same amount. Here it's not telling us. It just says she used more of the orange mix. So this one, it says if you cannot determine, explain why not. This one we can't determine. We don't know how much water each has. The size of the pitcher doesn't determine the amount of water they necessarily have in it. They could have different size pitchers and each still have the same amount of liquid in it. So we can't tell. Number 3, if a race car travels more laps in less time than it did yesterday, its speed would be slower, exactly the same, or faster. So it travels more laps in less time. So we need to think about this. So as it makes a lap around, let's say it makes a lap around, I don't know, let's say 1 lap takes 2 minutes. Then let's say more laps in less time. So if they did 1 lap in 2 minutes, then you would expect 2 laps in 4 minutes, 3 laps in another 2 minutes, 6 minutes, but it says if it travels more laps in less time. So let's say it did 1 lap in 1 minute and 2 laps in 2 minutes. So that means what has to be happening with the car in order for it to make that lap in less time, it has to be traveling faster. So it has to be faster to cover the same distance in less time. All right. And we're going to see on the next video. Actually, no, we're going to continue this. We're only 6 minutes into it. I think we can continue this. Activity 2, comparing comparisons. In this activity, you will compare ratios by measuring or counting quantities. When you reason like this, it's called quantitative reasoning. The 6th grade students are making hot chocolate to sell at the winter carnival. Each homeroom suggested a different recipe. And then off to the side says, take note, the capital T in each recipe stands for tablespoons. Okay, says, consider the given recipes to answer each question. Use reasoning to determine which recipe has the strongest chocolate taste and which has the weakest chocolate taste. Okay, so I'm going to pause for just a moment, be right back. Okay, so consider the given recipe to answer each question. It says use reasoning to determine which recipe has the strongest chocolate taste and which has the weakest. So if we're going to compare them, first of all, I really want you to pause and try this. Think about it. Right here, I'm looking for you to have what's called productive struggle. Like it should be a little bit difficult at first for you to think this through. I want you to pause it and attempt to think about it. That's what we're going to do in class. I'm not going right ahead and giving you the answers to this. So please pause and give it a try. Okay, so I'm assuming you did that. I hope you did. So as I'm looking at each of these different homerooms and their recipes, just like in this previous one, in order to compare these, we needed to know that they had the same amount of water. So to determine which one tastes more chocolatey, they need to have the same amount of milk for us to compare them. So how much milk would each of these recipes be able to have, like making multiple of this recipe until they all use the same amount of milk? So if I think about a least common multiple, so remember when we did the factor trees and then we wrote out the chart, the table, we had 2 cups, 3 cups, there's 4 cups and 5 cups. And we did the prime factorization and least common multiple. So the prime factorization of 2 is just 2. Prime factorization of 3 is just 3. 4, it's 2 and 2. I could put it here and move the 3 over, but it's okay, as long as it's in its own column. And 5, it's just 5. So remember, for the least common multiple, every column gets represented. So we have 2s, 3, 2, 5. And if we multiply those together, we have 2 times 3, which is 6, and 2 times 5, which is 10. 6 times 10 is 60. So if we had 60 cups of milk, then we would have the same amount of milk, and then we could compare how much cocoa powder they each get. So for homeroom 6A, they had 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder to 2 cups of milk. So we're going to do cocoa powder to milk. But then we're saying if they had 60 cups. So how do you go from 2 to 60? You multiply by 30. So that having 2 cups of milk up to 60 cups means you would do this recipe 30 times. 30 times of this recipe would end up giving you 60 cups. So if we did 30 of the 2 cups, we'd get 60. So if we did 30 of the 3 tablespoons, we would get a times 30 or 90 tablespoons. So this is homeroom 6A. Okay. And then let's do, I guess we'll do 6B next. So 6B has 8 tablespoons of cocoa powder to 5 cups of milk. So if we're going up to the 60 cups, 5, we get there by times 12. So 8 times 12 gives us, I'm waiting for you to figure it out. Yeah, 96 tablespoons. So that's 6B. Okay, 6C. 6C is 4 tablespoons to 3 cups. So if we want to go to 60 cups, that's a times 20. So a times 20 here would give us 80 tablespoons, and that's 6C. And then 6D, 7 tablespoons to 4 cups. If we're going to go to 60 cups, that's a times, it's a terrible time sign, 15, and 7 times 15 is 105, and that is 6D. So which one has the most chocolatey taste? So which one is stronger? I'm going to pause so that you can think about it. Look at those results. Okay, so the weakest chocolate taste would be the one that has the least amount of the cocoa powder, which is the first number. So the tablespoons of cocoa powder. So the least one is 6C, is the weakest, because it has the 80 tablespoons. I'm going to write 80T here. And then it looks like 90 tablespoons is next, and that is 6A. Then 6B is next with 96 tablespoons, and then 6D with 105 tablespoons. So this one is the strongest. Oops, I guess I better write it here. Strongest and then weakest. Okay, and we'll see you on the next video for activity 3.